This is Eric from Pack Hacker. In this video, we're going to check out the Mystery Ranch In-N-Out 18, which I've been testing for the past 2 weeks. Let's dive in. So first off, sorry if there's some construction noise. They're doing construction out there. They're doing construction over there. Sometimes they're on the roof, who knows what's going on. But this is the second time we've actually reviewed this bag. We reviewed a previous version and we really liked it. It was it lasted a very long time, took it on a lot of trips. So we're excited to try the new one and it performed pretty much just as well. So we have a Robic nylon ripstop. As you can see, the material is not very structured, but it is a packable bag. It packs up into this front pocket here, which we will show you in a little bit, but it does look a little bit saggy. I've got this really packed out right now. It's gonna depend what you pack inside of there and the sizes and hardness of all of those items. So very happy with the material. It's held up very well. Kind of put this thing through the ringer over the past 2 weeks and it looks pretty much brand new. Right out of the jump, you can see we have the logo there from Mystery Ranch and it blends in pretty nicely. It is kind of large, but I think it blends in fairly well with the fabric there. But we have YKK zippers throughout the pack. You see here, you can see we've got just a pretty basic nylon pull or a paracord like pull there. And we do have the loops on the end here. So you could feed that through there as a little locking mechanism. It's also handy to hold it while you're opening it, but these things go pretty easily. I guess if you had it super packed out, it might be a little more challenging, but pretty happy with that overall. We have Duraflex hardware on the buckles and stuff like that on the pack. It works as you'd expect it to, good brand, and just gets the job done very easily. There's not a ton of hardware here, but we do have some, little adjusters and stuff that we're going to get into. So we have water bottle pockets on the side here, and they're topped with elastic, so you can really cinch these down if you want to. So I had a travel tripod inside of here, and I was really able to make sure that it held onto it tightly with this. But as you can see, it kind of brings this part of the backpack down when you do that. So it kind of, I don't know, it looks a little bit better when I don't have that completely cinched down, but if I want whatever gear I have in there to stay in there, especially if it's something smaller, you got to kind of cinch it down. So it looks a little bit goofier, but when you pop that open like this, and I'll pop the other one open as well, the bag looks a bit less like frumpy. I don't know what the word would be for that, but it's a little bit nicer now. But again, if I'm using these, I'm going to tighten them up. Can fit a big water bottle, but if you have the pack super packed out, it does share space, so you're not gonna be able to fit as big of a bottle in there. So my 40-ounce bottle won't fit in there when it's completely packed out, but something closer to 20 is gonna fit pretty much all the time. So top handle here, very minimalistic, no padding, no aeration or anything like that. But again, this is a packable bag. That's what we expect from packable bags. It's just kind of par for the course. And we have these attachment loops here on the bottom and these elastic attachment loops here on the top. So you could put hiking poles, ice picks, whatever you want to stow here, and they don't get in the way if you're not using them. You could also attach like a Bluetooth speaker or something on there if you wanted to. But if you're gonna do that, be mindful of the people around you. But overall, very happy with the materials and the hardware. They've held up very well. We'll remind you before I start this section, this is a packable backpack. So we're not expecting to see super padded areas or a lot of mesh or anything like that, because all of that adds weight and space. So it has to fit inside of the stuff sack, which again, I'll show you later. So that's why we don't have any padding or aeration on the back panel, or at least so I assume. So when I tell people who are looking for a packable bag, I say pick the features that are most important to you and find one that has those, because packable bags are always axing, maybe let's say there's 10 things they can axe, they're gonna axe, maybe half of them or maybe more. So find the bag that has the things you care about if you can, and if you care about a super padded back panel or one with mesh and stuff like that, that is not the place here. So this is gonna get sweaty, but again, it's a packable bag, so it fits inside of wherever you want to put it. But we do have some padding here and some mesh on the shoulder straps. I found these to be pretty comfortable. They didn't get as sweaty as the back panel did, but overall pretty comfortable if you pack correctly. Like I have like packing cubes and stuff on this back wall right now, so it's pretty comfortable. This kind of pushing you a little bit, but overall pretty comfortable. On these shoulder straps, we do have these loops here, which you can attach a hydration bladder hose through. There are holes in the top, which I'll show you when we get into the main compartment. Then you can put it on either side, so whichever right-handed, left-handed, whichever works best for you. And if you're using it for something else, or you're using one of them, you can use something else on the other side. So we do have a sternum strap here, very easy to pop on and off. Nothing too special, it just gets the job done very thin and kind of just make sure that they stay together closer than if you have a bunch of stuff in the backpack, it's gonna kind of want to go down like that. So no hip belt, but didn't expect there to be. Overall, pretty happy with it, but it does not have that padding and mesh and stuff that you're probably used to from a regular backpack. If you are finding this video helpful, make sure you throw a like on the video, drop a comment down below about what you would take this packable backpack to, and subscribe to the channel so we can continue making content like this to help you travel smarter. So I don't have the sternum strap on right now, and I'm not sure how well you're gonna be able to see this because I'm kind of like moving around like these shoulder straps want to go to the sides a little bit, but if you have that sternum strap attached, it kind of just holds them together. Sorry if I hit the mic there. And you can move it around how you want to. It is not on a ladder, or it's on a ladder, not a rail, so you have to make the adjustments by like switching it to a different rung, but that means it's not going to move around, which I do like. So as you can see right now, the bag is a little bit lower than I typically would wear it, but I found this to be a little bit more comfortable because it doesn't have the structure of a bag that normally would, so it kind of just like sits nicely into like my lower back. But obviously if you want to adjust that, it's pretty easy to adjust it. Again, sorry if I hit the mic. And then we're a little bit higher up, and it's still comfortable. It's just a little bit different kind of feeling to what you're probably normally used to with a really structured back panel, but overall pretty comfortable. But again, it's going to depend what you put inside of there. If you have a bunch of heavy tech and stuff like that, it might poke into you and make you uncomfortable because there is not really any barrier between the bag and your back. So typically we do the main compartment last, but I'm going to do it first so I can take the gear out, and then when we get to the secondary compartment, I can show you how to pack it. So the main compartment is accessible from the top. We don't have the trademark Mystery Ranch tri-zip, which for a packable bag, I get it, that's a lot of zipper and zipper track. So if you want to see the tri-zip, you're not going to find it here, but you probably already knew that if you made it this far. So inside, I have actually quite a bit of gear stored inside, especially for an 18-liter bag, because there really isn't anything to take up space. It's just material. We have the one pocket there and then some zippers. So there's a ton of space, and there's really no organization to hamper, you know, all that space that I just mentioned a few times. So I have a packing cube, pull out the big packing cube as well, another larger packing cube, and I think I have one more packing cube. Yep, one more packing cube inside of here. So a ridiculous amount. Obviously, you probably wouldn't need this much clothing for a bag like this, but a ridiculous amount of space. And I also have my extra gear inside of here as well. So I have my tech pouch, which takes up quite a bit of room, pretty heavy. And so I put that on the top when I was packing, not the bottom, because these are more comfortable on my back than this would be, because this has tech in it, it's heavy, it's kind of pokey as well. Then I also have my toiletry pouch as well, which is a little bit pokey, not as much, so I don't care so much about where I pack that, but because I can kind of make a makeshift back panel out of this stuff, I did that and then put stuff on top to kind of just have that stuff over here. But you kind of have to play with that because you don't really want your heaviest gear away from your back, because then it kind of feels like you're like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle or something, and like you're swinging a shell around or something like that. So you kind of got to play with it. Obviously, your heavy gear might be pointy and pokey, so you don't necessarily want to put that on the back panel, but you get what I'm saying. You just kind of got to take what you got and work with it to try and make it as comfortable as possible, because you're the one who's going to determine the comfort of this bag. So the only organization we have here is this little sack right here for a hydration bladder. So it goes all the way down to the bottom of the pack, so you can put a pretty big hydration bladder inside of here. And then we have these two little holes right here, one on this side and then one over here. So that way you can put the hydration hose through this little toggle right here, and then it comes out and you can attach it to either of the shoulder straps here. So if you're not using it, it doesn't get in the way. Obviously, you do have a hole where water is able to maybe sneak inside, but I don't know, not the biggest deal for me personally. This is not a super waterproof backpack. It's gonna be fine in light rain, but you know, it is there. But on the inside here, no other organization to speak of, just a big open area, which I like because you can use this bag for just about anything. If there was a bunch of organization in here that made it useful as a gym bag, it might not be helpful if you're carrying camera gear or beach gear or something like that. So it's really what you make of it, but if you want something that's gonna do the organization for you, this is not the bag for you. So now moving on to the secondary compartment, as I mentioned, doing it a little bit out of order today. And this is where it's really the only kind of quick use pocket, although I guess you could get into this fairly quickly because it is just one zipper. You can pop in and grab what you need. So I have my phone stowed inside of there, and I also have my wallet stowed inside of there. So that way I have quick access to those. You can put snacks in there, whatever. And one thing to note is that this does share space with the main compartment because the wall here is stretchy. So this is a stretchy material to help you when you're packing this away. And so if you have a bunch of stuff in your main compartment, you're not going to have as much space here because they just share space. It's not a big pocket anyways. I mean, it's got a pretty big footprint, but it doesn't have a ton of depth. So keep that in mind, but it's a good place to stow your quick access gear. But the primary use of this is as where you stuff the bag. So I always close this zipper before I stow it away. It just makes it a little bit easier for me personally. You really don't have to do it. And one thing to note is when you are stuffing this away, I always try and get the shoulder straps in there fairly early, and I do that by kind of just making sure that they're in this center position before I stuff it, so that way when I go to grab all of this material, they come in right away. So as you saw, I kind of grabbed them like that, so that way they're not like flailing around. And sometimes when you're trying to close the zipper, stuff like that'll be like just kind of in the way, and it makes it a lot easier if you're just dealing with a material and not a strap that has like stuff sticking off of it. So as you can see now, that packs very easily, and there's not a bunch of stuff sticking out in the way. So we have a nice zipper, two-way zipper for that compartment. And as you can see, we do have a little bit of a elastic piece there that wants to stay out, but pretty easy to take control of that. And when you're not on camera, it goes even quicker than that. So as you can see, I'm gonna hit this over here. Sorry if it makes the mic a little loud, so it kind of evens out. So now we're a little bit flatter, and it's just a little bit more easy to work with and not caught in corners and stuff like that. So it's not the smallest packable bag that we've tested, but as you saw, it was very easy to pack it away, which I think is valuable because sometimes when you're using a packable backpack, you're trying to move fairly quickly. And it's just annoying to be on vacation and like you're in your hotel room at Airbnb or something like that, and you're just like fidgeting trying to put your backpack away, or maybe you're sitting, you know, in a park somewhere and you're trying to pack it away, and it's just frustrating. So it's nice to be able to do that pretty easily. We have a little handle here. As you can see, you can attach that to a hook or something like that. You could also use this zipper pull if you wanted to. And we have all this info on here that tells you what it is. And although this isn't the smallest packable backpack that I've used, you do get some compression here. When you go like that, I guess I could show you from the side. You get some more compression when if you stacked a bunch of gear on top of it inside of your rolling luggage or your travel backpack or something like that. So overall, very happy with the materials. And I like, as I mentioned earlier, that it's a versatile design. You can really do with it what you please because there's not a ton of organization, but the structure may be a, you know, something for like a thing that you do not like that will make you not get this backpack because there's not a ton of structure here. But as far as packable backpacks go, I think it does pretty well. And it's, you know, very small when you pack it down, when you include like the, you know, the compression there. So if you have a bunch of gear, I think it's a good contender. It just depends what features you want from a packable bag. So it performs well, just depends on that. So there you have it, the Mystery Ranch In-N-Out 18. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel. We'll see you in the next one.